Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm so excited to share with you my recipe for red velvet cake. This recipe has been requested here for so long. I do have a red velvet cupcake video here on my channel that I've done years ago, but I figured it's time for an update. It's time for a red velvet cake, and there are so many variations of this recipe, and if you have a specific family way of making it, please make sure to share it down below. I'd love to hear it. But this is a recipe that's worked for me for a very long time, and I'm thrilled to be able to share it with you. Now let's go over the ingredients so we can get this thing started. You need all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, salt, baking powder, baking soda, buttermilk, granulated sugar, eggs, vegetable oil, distilled white vinegar, unsalted butter softened at room temperature, vanilla extract, and some red food coloring. Now these are the ingredients you're going to need to make the cake, and then I'll show you how to make my classic cream cheese frosting that I couldn't imagine red velvet cake being without. Now I know that there's different versions of what the perfect frosting is for red velvet cake, but for me it's got to be cream cheese. Now the first thing you want to do is get your oven preheated. I have mine to 350, and I have two 9-inch round baking pans, and I've sprayed them with nonstick spray and laid the bottom with parchment paper. Nothing sticks. Love that. So let's get this thing rolling. Real simple. The first thing I'm going to work on is creaming together my butter and vegetable oil. Now I'm using mostly butter and a little bit of vegetable oil because I want the flavor of the butter, but a little bit of that vegetable oil is going to make the cake a little bit more moist, because in all reality, I've never really known red velvet cake to be super moist. So a little vegetable oil definitely does that. You can also use vegetable shortening. That works as well. So I've got my sugar, butter, vegetable oil in here, and I'm just going to cream this together until it comes together. That, my friend, is perfection. That is what I'm looking for. Just going to take my spatula and run it along the sides. Just want to make sure that gets incorporated. Now I'm going to add my eggs and vanilla. Now what I'm going to do while this creams together is very quickly, how much do I have left of this? Not a whole lot. I might as well put the whole thing in because it's now gone. Now while this is creaming together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sift my dry ingredients, because I really want this to be real smooth batter, and sometimes cocoa powder can be a bit lumpy. So I'm just going to take these, and with patience, because you know how much I dislike sifting, I'm just going to sift this together and wait for my egg mixture to be nice and combined. That is looking really good. Oh yes, give that a good scrape. All right, so that's done. Let's work on the buttermilk mixture. It's crucial that you use buttermilk in this recipe, because the combination of the buttermilk with the baking soda is going to help this rise and make it sort of as moist and fluffy as possible. So to that I'm going to add a splash of distilled white vinegar and some red food coloring. Now you can make this cake and not have it be red. I mean, it'll still taste exactly the same, but you know, if you want red velvet cake, you need red food coloring. Some people use beet juice. You can do that. I personally just use red food coloring. You add as much as you think you need, add a bit more. I do prefer the gel kind because I feel like it doesn't really have, well, I don't think any of them really have a taste unless you're using like a cup of it. But just for a couple tablespoons, you'll be fine. So I'm going to add in my dry ingredients. I'm going to add half of those. Actually, I'm going to add the whole thing, along with my buttermilk mixture. I'm telling you, this is very, very, very easy cake to put together. It's really, really good. Too good to be true. Anyways, and then just combine that until you have a nice smooth batter. That's it. My cake batter is done, and it's looking perfect. So I'm just going to divide the batter between my two cake pans. I'm going to try and make this as even as possible, but you know, don't stress yourself out over it. It'll be all right. At the end of the day, guess what? It's all going to the same place. You know what I mean? And you know, we don't strive for perfection around here. We strive for delicious. We're no fancy schmancy people, no fancy schmancy chefs. I just want really good home food, and I want it to look delicious, but I don't want to give myself, you know, nervous breakdown over the fact that it might not be perfectly even. Are you with me? just take your spatula and even at the top as much as you can. And then the same thing to this one. There you go. So now I'm going to pop these into the oven. It's been preheated to 350. They'll bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. Shouldn't take any longer than that. Check on it with a toothpick, insert it into the center. If it comes out clean with no wet batter on it, you know it's done. Then they need to cool completely, and I'll show you. And then we'll make the frosting, and then we'll frost them, and then we'll eat them, and then we'll gain a couple pounds, and we'll do it with pleasure. My cakes baked for exactly 30 minutes, and I've let them cool completely. They're hanging out right back there because we are ready to make the cream cheese frosting that I think red velvet anything is not complete without. Well, it's complete without. Anyways, the frosting is just my classic cream cheese frosting. You'll need powdered sugar, cream cheese, and butter. Both, obviously, butter is unsalted at room temperature. A little bit of milk, vanilla extract, and I've got some chopped toasted pecans. Totally optional. I need them. Complete my life. What can I say? I'm going to make this in my standing mixer. Really simple and really easy. Key to a perfect cream cheese frosting is having your cream cheese and your butter at the right, they have to be room temperature. Very, very soft. Otherwise, you're going to end up with lumps. No one likes lumps, in their cream cheese frosting or any frosting. Just going to give these a heads up before I add in my confectioner's sugar. That looks fantastic. Just scrape it off the sides with your spatula. Adding in my powdered sugar. Okay. And I'm just going to turn this on and slowly add just a few tablespoons of milk, just until you get it to the right consistency. I'm going to let this go until it's really nice and creamy. I'm going to bring my cakes over so we can assemble this thing and finally dig in, because it's been way too long and it's taunting me. The cakes are ready and I'm not able to eat them yet. My frosting is done. I've got a cake plate here, a cake stand, and I've just put 4 pieces of parchment paper on all sides, and this will make sense in just a minute. Now, my cakes are completely cold, and as you can see, they've gone down because, like I said, red velvet is a pretty dense cake. It's not a super thick, fluffy cake, but if yours is like domed up a bit, cut off some of the top so you have a nice flat cake. Now, I'm just going to take this out, remove my parchment. And I like to put it just top side down just to ensure that you're at, you got a nice flat piece of cake. I'm going to take some of my frosting, not half of it, just like a big scoop of it. See, if something like that happens, don't you worry, because guess what? That's not even going to make a difference, because it's not going to go on your cake stand. Take some of that. I've got a spatula. I'm just gonna smear this as even as possible. Now, if you've got like one of those rotating cake stands, that's fantastic. I don't have one. I should probably get one for as much baking as I do, but that's all right. Just get it nice and even. Right on the edge. Okay. Take your second cake. Take it right out of the pan. Take off the parchment, and again, I'm going to put this like that so it's nice and flat. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take the rest of your frosting sort of patiently, and you're going to pretty much smear this all over the top and sides of the cake. Don't worry if it's not perfect. It's not meant to be. Take your pecans, and now I just kind of stick them all over the side of the cake, like that. And that frosting kind of acts like glue, and it's really nice to get like that crunch, because it's great to have different texture. Because like I always say, so much in food isn't about, it's not always about, all just flavor. It's about texture as well. I want things to be a little bit different. You want to have a little crunch, a little soft, a little creamy, a little moist. That never hurts anyone. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop this in the fridge for just a little bit until the frosting sets, and then we're going to clean this up and serve. My cake was in the fridge for about 10 minutes, just long enough for the icing to set a little bit, especially in here in my kitchen, just because of all the studio lighting. It gets to about 90 degrees here at times, so I definitely would recommend that if you're doing this in the heat of summer, and if you don't have air conditioning running, or if your house is just really warm, your kitchen is really warm, pop it in the fridge for a little bit for the frosting to set before you go slice it, otherwise it's gonna fall apart. Pretty delicious, but it'll fall apart. So now I'm just gonna take each piece. And see how handy this is? So I'm just going to take each piece of parchment paper that I put in there and try carefully, do it with this, take this off, because that way it doesn't make a big giant mess. Get a little slice for myself. Look how beautiful that is. I am excited, very excited. If it keeps falling off my fork one more time, I'll be really upset. That makes me happy. It is so good. I almost don't have words for it. It's not a vanilla cake, nor chocolate. It's mostly vanilla that's just been kissed on the cheek by chocolate. It's delicious. It's so simple and easy to put together. Totally will wow anyone that comes over. I'm going to slice a little slice for my husband and pack up the rest to bring to my coworkers tomorrow. They're gonna be so happy. I love baking and cooking not only because I get to reap the benefits, but mostly because I get to share my passion with others. It's my way of saying, hey, thanks for working hard today. Or hey, thanks for getting my mail this week. Or hey, thanks for doing this. It's just kind of my way of showing appreciation and love for anyone, which is what I always recommend. If you are wanting to say thank you to someone, make them a piece of cake, make them a homemade anything. Head on over to laurainthekitchen.com for tons of great recipes. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and as always, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.